Yes, everybody, Russ, the West Ham Network. Good morning, West Ham fans. Russ is here. It's Tuesday, and West Ham can't ruin our weekend until Sunday. Yesterday, we did the Academy show, some lovely comments. We'll do a lot more of that, a lot more in depth about some of the Academy. Every week, we'll do a player profile going forward to give a bit more of an insight in terms of who they are and where they could fit into potentially a pathway. And then we spoke about how Nuno's going to get a cash injection by the ball, but we'll see that when we believe it. And how the likes of we've signed a lot of youth team players, a lot of academy players to long-term contracts over last week, which is great. You know, protecting. Some say preparation for the championship, which I could agree to, but also safeguarding our sort of 100% profit value, because obviously the academy, albeit a few of them we've paid a little bit of money to get them in, it's 100% profit, and obviously we've seen the likes of Declan Rice and people like where they could go, and tying them down to, for example, someone like 𝗙𝗥𝗔𝗡𝗦𝗧𝗘𝗥 until 2031. So that sort of protects that for the next 6 years, really, in terms of the value. So I kind of understand it. However, even with even though we're waiting for January, we've still got a lot of games to play coming up to. Obviously, we've got this next 3-game run: Newcastle, Burnley, Bournemouth. Then we've got the international break, and then we're on a clear run until March, and obviously a clear run then until Christmas, and then obviously into the international, into the AFCONs and the January transfer window. But I keep talking about this Frankenstein squad that we currently have. So I thought, you know what? Let's delve a little bit deeper. So not assuming the academy players that have come into the squad, in terms of the players that have been bought, all right? This is how our current squad, and this is probably why we've got to where we are at the moment, particularly with the sort of the churn of managers we've had. Obviously, we're now in our fourth manager in 18 months. I can't remember. But anyway, a lot of managers have come and been and gone in the last sort of couple of years. And when you look at it, it's no surprising that our squad's a little bit disjointed, a little bit all over the place. Let me take that is our current squad in terms of players we bought in. I think I've got everyone in the right spot, but it's across 4, and particularly with Fabianski going and coming back, it's across 4 managers. And obviously, you've got the likes of Tim Steidten, involved in sort of the second bit of the Moyes era, part 2, plus the Lopetegui era, plus the beginning of the Potter era, albeit somewhat got rid of for Potter, started bringing players in. But you can look at it and you can see now. I appreciate Alvarez is out on loan. Todibo, obviously, we got him in on a loan deal initially, but it was purchased under Potter. That's why I put the asterisk, because the initial deal, not a problem with someone like Areola, obviously, because he was loaned to us from Fulham and then subsequently bought under Moyes. But you can see there's a reason why our team is so fucking disjointed, because it comes from 4 different types of managers. Okay, we'll say 3, because Fabianski isn't. We never know, might get into the squad. But if we move alongside, you've got the pragmatic Moyes, the slightly more, what we thought was a different type of management in terms of Lopetegui. We had the sort of the project manager based Potter approach, and now back to more pragmatic Nuno sort of setup. Now, for me, it's in terms of getting the best out of our players, how the hell, I feel sorry for any manager that comes in, because now obviously this happens, lots of different managers, but for us it just seems to be even more. You've got the likes of Areola, was bought under Moyes, and then you've got Lopetegui bringing in sort of the 2 centre halves who he's playing most often, or actually the 3, or including Wan-Bissaka as well, 3 of the back 4. So there's no, and you've asked for percent. And there's percentages. Current squad is 38% Moyes, 29% Potter, 29% Lopetegui, and 4% Pellegrini. And that's the current squad. I haven't looked at the starting 11. If we look at the starting 11, that could be quite interesting. Let me have a quick look at that now. So we had Areola in goal, who was Moyes. Then we had, I suppose you've got, let's go for our normal back four. So say we've got Wan-Bissaka, so 3 for from 𝗙𝗦𝗡𝗦𝗧𝗘𝗥, Diouf for 1 for Potter. Say if we went with Magassa and 𝗙𝗦𝗡𝗦𝗧𝗘𝗥. Yeah, so you can see it's spreading. It's no surprise that we're in the situation we're in at all when you look at that. And that comes from poor planning, poor recruitment. And to be honest, although it might be seem on paper a good idea for Nuno to get the players he wants in, and to but if he goes, then you've got another situation. Then you've got if he brought 3 or 4 players in, and then it doesn't work out for him. There's no continuity at all. You could say there might have been some continuity from, say, the end of Moyes' 𝗙𝗦𝗡𝗦𝗧𝗘𝗥 era, because obviously Tim Steidten being in charge of recruitment. But at the moment, there's no surprise we're in dire straits. Now, I'm sure if you went back and look at the Tottenham sides, Tottenham squads, there'll be a couple of different, but all in all, there's managers with there's still a thread, and obviously here there's no thread. You go from pragmatic to a project manager, so naturally the types of players you buy. Would Nuno want to buy Fernandes for his style? Quite possibly, I give him that. But would Nuno buy Hermansen? Particularly also because Nuno is a former goalkeeper. Not the type of goalkeeper that he likes. He likes more athletic goalkeepers. He likes goalkeepers who like Areola or Sells or Sarr. These types of goalkeepers, they're very similar in terms of how they physically hold themselves, in terms of the style of play. Very shot stopper based, and okay with their ball at the feet, but I wouldn't say that's what he really wants. He's happy for them to hit it long, up to a Raul Jimenez or a Chris Woods or something like that. So when we talk about Frankenstein squads, that is what we're talking about. That is why it is a Frankenstein squad. And when you look at it like that, I think it's even more compelling, because you can see, and I can understand why people still talk about Moyes today. Over a third of the squad was signed under David Moyes, and so although that the fan base, or the majority of fan base, have moved on from Moyes, the squad hasn't. And you've got key players. The captain is still a Moyes player. You've got the goalkeeper. Mavropanos was arguably one of the best defenders we had this season, which is saying something. Paqueta, Souček, Andy Irvine now, after being bought from by under Moyes and then sent to Flankenberg and then coming back, he's now getting game time. So we are in a mess, aren't we? We'll be talking about some of the players we've been linked with coming up. There's going to be loads of players we're going to be linked with. Everyone and their aunt's going to be linked with us now. Whether they come to us is another thing. I think over the summer we were linked to 167 players. I think we bought half a dozen, something like that. So gives you a rough hit rate in terms of players we've been linked with to players who actually buy. But let me know what you think. What do you think about the Frank? It's quite timely, actually, considering it's Halloween this week. But we are very much a Halloween squad at the moment, to be fair. We're back later on. Latest news, reviews, and opinions. Don't forget to give it like, comment, share, a hype, all that good stuff. And I'll see you soon. Much love. Take care, motherfuckers. Bye-bye.